I'm live. It's Sunday afternoon, the 15th of February, and it's very rainy and dark. I'm continuing Travels with My Aunt, a published novel by Greene from 1969. Henry Pulling, a retired bank manager, is meeting his aunt, Augusta, in Paraguay. He hasn't seen her for a long time, but they travel together. And he has now just arrived in Paraguay, and then my connection stopped. I have given you the bed, my aunt said, but I couldn't do without my dressing table. Is this your room? Sometimes I miss my Venetian glass, but when the curtains go up and the furniture arrives, you must be hungry, Henry. Wordsworth will bring your bags. I have a little meal prepared. I could no longer be surprised by the furnishing of the dining room, an immense room which had been lit once by three chandeliers. The wires sprouted like weeds out of holes in the ceiling. There was a table, but no cloth, and the chairs were packing crates. It's all a bit rough, my aunt said, but when Mr. Visconti returns, you will see how soon we shall get things to order. The meal came out of tins, and there was a sweet and... I have to wear my glasses, it's so dark today. The meal came out of tins, and there was a sweet red wine of local origin which tasted like an evil medicine of childhood. I thought of my first-class ticket on the boat with shame. When Mr. Visconti is back, Aunt Augusta said, we plan to give you a party. A house like this is made for parties. We shall have a barbecue with an ox roasted whole in the garden, and there will be coloured lights in the trees and music, of course, for dancing. A harp and a guitar. That is the fashion here. The polka and the gallop are the national dances. I shall invite the chief of police, the Jesuit provincial, for his conversation, of course, the British ambassador and his wife, the Italian ambassador. No, I would not be tactful. That would not be tactful. We must find some pretty girls for you, Henry. A splinter from the packing case scratched my thigh. I said, you will need a little furniture first, Aunt Augusta. That goes without saying. I regret that I cannot ask the Italian ambassador. He's such a handsome man, but under the circumstances... I shall have to tell you something, Henry, that only Wordsworth knows. Where is Wordsworth now? In the kitchen. Mr. Visconti prefers us to eat alone. As I was going to say, Henry, when you interrupted me, Mr. Visconti has taken to an Argentine passport, and he is known here as Mr. Izquierdo. I'm not altogether surprised, Aunt Augusta, I told her, how the two town detectives had searched the flat. General Abdul is dead, by the way. I rather expected that. Did they take anything away? Nothing, except a picture postcard from Panama. Why did they want that? They thought it might have something to do with Mr. Visconti. How absurd the police always seems to be. The card must have been sent by Monsieur d'Ambrose. I met him on the boat, going out to Buenos Aires. Poor man. He had aged a great deal. I didn't even recognize him until he began to tell me about his metallurgical company and his family in Toulouse. And he hadn't recognized you? That is not so surprising. In those days, when we were living at the St. James at Albany, I had black hair, not red. Red was Mr. Visconti's favourite colour. I kept red especially for him. The police were acting for Interpol, I said. It is absurd of them to treat Mr. Visconti like a common war criminal. There are lots of such men hidden around here. Martin Bormann is just across the border in Brazil, and the unspeakable Dr. Mengele of Auschwitz is said to be with the army near the Bolivian border. Why doesn't Interpol do anything about them? Mr. Visconti was always very kind to Jews, even when he had those dealings with Saudi Arabia. Why should he be chased out of Argentine where he was doing quite well in the antique business. There was an American in Buenos Aires who made the most impertinent inquiries, Mr. Visconti told me. Mr. Visconti had sold a picture to a private purchaser in the States, and this American, who claimed to be a representative of the Metropolitan Museum, said the picture had been looted. Was the man's name O'Toole by any chance? It was. He's here in Asuncion now. Yes, I know that, but he's not finding people so cooperative here. After all, the general has German blood. He was with me on the boat, and he told me he was doing social research. That's quite untrue. Like the Metropolitan Museum, he is in the CIA. He's Thule's father. Thule? The girl on the Orient Express. How very interesting. I wonder if that could be of any use to us, my aunt reflected. You say he was on the boat with you? Yes. He may have been following you. Such a fuss about a few pictures. I seem to remember that you and his daughter became great friends on the train. And there was all that business of the pregnancy. Aunt Augusta, that had nothing to do with me. Rather a pity, Aunt Augusta said, under the circumstances. Wordsworth came into the room wearing the butcher's apron in which I had first seen him in the flat above the Crown and Anchor. Then his services in washing up had been recognized and praised, but I could tell they were taken for granted here. Shop finished? We will have our coffee in the garden, my aunt said grandly. We sat down in the meagre shade of a banana tree. The air was sweet with orange and jasmine, and the moon swam palely in the blue sky. It looked as worn and thin as an old coin, and the craters were the same color as the sky, so that one seemed to be looking through holes at the universe behind. There was no sound of traffic. The clip-clop of a horse belonged to the same ancient world of silence. Yes, it is very peaceful, my aunt said. Only an occasional gunshot after dark. The police are sometimes trigger-happy. I forgot whether it's one lump or two. I wish you would tell me a little bit more, Aunt Augusta. I can't help being puzzled. This big house and no furniture and Wordsworth here with you? I brought him from Paris, Aunt Augusta said. I was travelling with rather a lot of ready money, nearly everything I had left, though I kept enough in Bern to pay for your ticket. A frail old lady like myself needed a bodyguard. It was the first time I had ever heard her admit to being old. You could have taken me with you. I wasn't sure about your attitude to certain things. You were rather shocked, you remember, about that gold bar in Istanbul. What pity that General Abdul made a mess of the affair. We could have done now with a 25%. Where has all your money gone, Aunt Augusta? You haven't even a bed to sleep in. The mattresses are perfectly comfortable, and I have always found a soft bed enervating. When I arrived here, poor Mr. Visconti was in a very low state. He was living up on credit in a really horrible little hotel. All his money had gone on his new passport and the little hotel. His new passport and bribes to the police. God knows how Dr. Mengele manages, but I expect he has numbered accounts in Switzerland. I only arrived just in time. He was sick, too, poor fellow, from living mainly on mandioca. So you gave him your money a second time, Aunt Augusta? Of course, what do you expect? He needed it. We bought this house for a song. Someone was murdered here 20 years ago, and people are very superstitious. And what was left has been well invested now. We have half a share in a very promising enterprise. Is Dakota by any chance? My aunt gave a little excited giggle. Mr. Visconti will tell you all about it himself. Where is he? He was meant to be back yesterday, but there has been a lot of rain, and the roads are very bad. She looked with pride at the empty shell of her house. She said, "You won't know this place in a week's time. When the chandeliers are hung in the hall and the furniture arrives, I so wanted it to be ready before you came, but there were delays in Panama. A lot always depends on Panama." So, and I'll take a break here because it's a longer chapter. It's chapter 4 of the second part. Have a good time.